deceptive looking weather. It seems sunny here, but it's actually pouring rain just a few blocks away. And what did I read today? I guess this is technically related to that DJI ban bill per se, the one where they want to ban Chinese-made drones, for example, in the US, as apparently is attached to this. And this one says, House passes pivotal defense bill with culture war amendments targeting abortion climate policies. Funny enough, they didn't mention anything about, for example, like countering CCP Drones Act and all that. As it says here, the GOP-controlled House of Representatives on Friday passed an annual defense policy bill, but the legislation has next to zero chance of becoming law as it stands after Republicans added a series of conservative priorities targeting Pentagon abortion policy, climate change initiatives, and more. The lower chamber cleared the National Defense Authorization Act by a mostly party-line vote of 217 to 199, authorizing over $895 billion in funding to the Department of Defense. Democrats this week have protested that Republicans packed the must-pass bill, a traditionally bipartisan endeavor, with culture war provisions dubbed poison pills. So it doesn't sound good so far for DJI and anyone who uses their drones or potentially their products in general when it comes to the US anyways, because it seems like they're just about 2 steps away from potentially, I guess, being banned per se. I believe it goes, for example, to another step like the Senate, and then afterwards it gets signed by the president, kind of like what happened to that TikTok. So who knows what will happen here, but again, it doesn't look good for the company. And it's kind of interesting reading this, as people often say, don't fly your drones around places like air shows, for example, as there usually are restrictions during times like those. But how about this one? This one says, heat-seeking drones being used to track Barrie Airshow attendance. It won't be just the snowbirds and old warplanes taken to the skies over Kempenfelt Bay this weekend for the Barrie Airshow. According to Barrie Tourism Executive Director Kathleen Traynor, there will also be heat-seeking drones in the sky to help the city get a better idea of how many people attend the popular weekend-long event, saying, quote, it's a huge economic driver for tourism to come into the city for the day to see the airshow, she said. We are one of the first events right now out of the gate, and it's Father's Day weekend, so we expect with 3 days packed with entertainment. So as they say, quote, they're going to take heat-seeking drones and we're going to be using MobileScape's data. The drones count them and we track everybody's cell phones. If you have your cell phone on and you're binging off the tower, the MobileScape technology will count everybody's cell phone as a unique identifier. She added, it's actually really interesting because it can tell you if they're from Barrie, outside Barrie, so we will know in about 4 weeks after the event. How about that? Because it's that topic too. People are so worried about drones per se, spying on them and all that. How about this? People with just their regular cell phones and they can try to interpret data and so forth about the individual in this way. Are people going to be terrified of this, for example? But I guess either way, I'm surprised it's not over the top in this regards too, saying, oh no, get everything else out of the air, like a drone is too dangerous. It could go crazy, crash into the planes and so forth. But as you can see, even for officials, if they think it's a useful tool, they'll use it, right? And this was an interesting read, I thought. As you know, there's a lot of film productions that actually use drones to capture things like footages. And now this one here says, Hollywood studios to cover drone camera crews under union agreement. Following the results of an arbitration with Warner Brothers, major film and television studios have agreed to cover drone camera crews under the IATSE union agreement. That's according to a camera professional union, the International Cinematographers Guild, which informed its members on Thursday morning that this change came as a result of the union prevailing in a dispute with the studio in April over whether particular drone camera workers were covered under its contract, saying, quote, this was the second drone arbitration award in favor of the local national executive director, Alex Tonneson, said in a memo obtained by The Hollywood Reporter. Major studios now have represented that they will cover drone camera crews under the Local 600 agreement as required by the latest arbitration award. So to my knowledge, before, everyone was more kind of like a third party contractor to the production, so they didn't really, I guess, get the benefits and protections and so forth, whereas now they'll actually be considered as, I guess, part of the crew in the union, as they say. Like they mentioned here, the decision appears to clear up what had previously been something of a gray area in terms of union coverage, and is seemingly part of a larger struggle the IATSE union is undertaking to push back against employers subcontracting what the labor group believes should be covered work to non-union workers. Drone cameras have been used for many years to create swooping dramatic sequences in films including Skyfall and Jurassic World and series like Game of Thrones. The Federal Aviation Administration first approved the Motion Picture Association of America's request to use drones to film movies and television series in the US airspace in 2014. I don't know if that'll actually change anything in general, but it's kind of an interesting revelation, I suppose, for people who do it professionally for big film sets and all that. All right, see you guys later.